Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Today's October 18th, 2018. This is the regular meeting of the Woodbridge Conservation Commission. We will start with public comments. Very different from the last meeting. No public comments tonight. Move along to review and approve the minutes of the September 20th, 2018 regular meeting.
Betsy, did you do those?
Yeah.
They were very good, by the way. That was a lot. So yes.
So you make a motion to approve. I will second. Is there any discussion about the September minutes? Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. Next on the agenda is review purpose and duties of the Conservation Commission. Now, I put this on here for two reasons. One, it's always good to just reflect upon why we're here and what we're charged with. And two, just this past week, the town signed an agreement between the town and the state with regards to, and I'm gonna get this right, the Farmland Preservation Program and the Community Farms Preservation Program. There was a Board of Selectmen meeting, I think it was last week, is that right, Betsy? It was last week,
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks ago. And that was subsequent to the ordinance meeting that was earlier in October. There was no Ag Commission approved from ordinance, but the effort seemed to be to move things forward, that the town should sign this agreement, and the Board of Selectmen voted unanimously to sign the agreement and appoint the Conservation Commission in a role, and we'll go through the duties there. And then I wasn't aware of it until last Friday, and then I was asked, could you come and sign this? The Board of Selectmen approved it. We just need to get your signature on it.
Did you see the picture? It was
I
in
did.
I saw it tonight. The town news email that goes out. He's
Yeah.
in there.
Is it?
Yeah.
With Beth.
Yep, we did our little official signing.
Mhm.
So, I think it was all in an effort to move things forward, as my understanding was, because it could linger, the whole discussion about agriculture, but I think to move it forward, it seemed for the time being responsible to at least task an existing commission with it, and we got appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that, yeah. And,
So I included all of our bullet points
Mm-hmm.
of what everybody should have read at some point in the past. And then I included the 9 points that are in that agreement. And I'm just going to run through them quickly. Rather than staring at the screen, I'll tell anyone that wants to watch this.
Which document are you on? Conservation Commission duties?
Yes. So that in that letter of agreement, the 9 things are: to provide information to local farmers and municipal boards and commissions about the benefits of balancing agriculture and other land uses. 2, to educate municipal officials about agricultural laws and safety issues. 3, identify grant sources for farmers and municipalities. 4, enable a common understanding of agriculture among all municipal departments.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
So is this we're going to oversee that committee, or this is what our job is, or this is what you signed for that? I'm sorry, I just don't.
So this is in that agreement
Yes.
that the Board of Selectmen appointed us to take on these responsibilities
Oh, okay.
and duties.
An
Yeah.
agreement between the town
But
and
it
the
wasn't
state.
in lieu.
Yeah.
Was it in lieu of the Ag Commission?
It was not in lieu of the Ag
Okay.
Commission. This was
Just
the town wanted to move forward, and this is an agreement that had to get signed to open the
Oh, okay.
door
Great.
for
Okay.
I
these 2
see.
particular programs.
That's great. Okay.
So in order to allow the town to do that without an Ag Commission in place at the moment, they needed to
I
yeah,
see.
we don't
appoint somebody.
It's without the Agricultural Commission, though. It's more like an advisory thing or something that,
Yeah.
they
So
can get
it's
grants
still,
from the
did
state.
they decide against it, or
Things
they're
like
still in
that.
the process of
They're
that?
still processing as far.
Okay.
There was
All right.
no,
I
and
don't-
Betsy can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there was no up-down vote as to form one or not. I think it's still under discussion
Okay.
at this point. Yeah.
Okay. So if it's not, it doesn't go forward, does these kinds of ag thing that you signed are under our jurisdiction?
Yeah, for
Okay.
right now,
That's what I was
until
just-
something changes, they're under our,
Okay, that's all.
specifically under our jurisdiction, right?
Okay, great.
And they are all very agriculture related. To to enable a common understanding of agriculture among all municipal departments, provide information and guidance about agriculture-related zoning issues, support local, regional, and state vocational ag programs, provide conflict resolution and advisory services. I suppose that's specific around agriculture. That's awfully general. Identify innovative opportunities for ag and create a climate that supports agricultural economic viability in the municipality.
Would that be, if we see land that's available or something like that, innovative opportunities, are we supposed to help them?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, with that, okay.
And, you know, I think points have been made in the past that conservation has a handful of responsibilities in front of it already that we're slowly chipping away at, and this sort of adds to it in some ways. My thought is perhaps, and we don't need to make any decision, but just to think over, are there things here that are somewhat task-oriented that we could create a subcommittee to handle that was devoted to agriculture under the Conservation Commission?
Some of these things we do already, I mean.
Correct, yeah.
You know.
Does if they create a
I think it's
subcommission, do they
just-
have to be voted onto that? Like, in other words, like, do they, like, we just pick the people, or do they have to, who has to pick the people?
What's your question?
How a committee would be formed under us, and I don't know the details, I'm just kind of floating
Yeah.
a real loose idea.
I don't care, I mean, I'm fine with whatever you think, I was just curious, like,
That or an ex officio member, I don't know, however if it's set up, I don't know how it's set up regularly, you know, that it probably would depend upon that.
But just something to think on, and I'll try to get the exact wording and legality, or ordinance-wise about how subcommittees are formed.
okay. Well, just, I think it would just help if they don't approve the ag commission, then whoever I don't think, whoever comes, it just has to be clear that it wasn't, you know, the power, whoever had, you know, is it best decision or whatever, I think.
Yeah, the board, well, it was the whole board of selectmen, they're the
Yeah,
ultimate
so let the
authority
board of
there,
selection
so.
decide who can, you know what I mean, as far as you know,
Okay.
who can, that's what would be my vote.
Alright.
And we do want someone with expertise in this area.
Yeah, having someone with expertise in agriculture on
Would be
any
good.
committee or commission is sort of important to the whole process.
Now, do you
Absolutely.
are you on the board of selectmen also? No.
No.
You're just on this,
Nope.
okay.
Would have been nice if we were notified ahead of time.
I was surprised too.
Well, yeah,
I
that's what I'm
was
saying.
I had only known that this was happening after the fact, and I was told that there was a bit of a timeliness to getting the signatures done, so I made an effort over
I
the
don't think
weekends
it's enough
to
to make
connect.
an issue out of it, but it
And
would-
yeah, I agree.
personally
And
would have-
and Leland, I will say Leland did say that he was a bit disappointed that we didn't have a chance as a commission to discuss it
To
in
actually-
advance. But I did mention to him that it was pretty much a done deal. The Board of Selectmen had already said conservation is doing these things now.
Yeah.
And it was more of a formality to get a signature on the document.
And actually,
Yeah.
almost.
And it's not a bad thing. All of this is a good thing.
It's something that we were hinting at, forming a committee to look into these sort of things anyhow, so,
Right.
you know, it comes right from the state of Connecticut.
Right, and I'm sure
I
that
think
there's
it's
some
not
in
a
town
bad
that are
thing, right?
disappointed that there's not a formal commission at this
Right.
point in time, but I hope they understand that
It's not
we're
up to-
trying to move things forward for the
Yeah.
benefit of farming and agriculture in the
This will
town.
move much faster than
Yeah.
trying to set up the.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on that? I just wanted to take a moment, reflect upon our duties and the new duties that we've got in front of us. All right. Next item is to get an update on the 2018 trail walks and potential access to 1875 Litchfield Turnpike, because we do want to hopefully get a walk over there. So the October trail walk was canceled because it was cold and wet, and the walk that we had identified to do is over on the Boy Scout property,
yeah.
and that was very steep, and with
Yeah.
the leaves and the wet
No, yeah.
and the mud, I thought
There's also that quarry, right?
there's the quarry, and then there's a few
Yeah.
small stream crossings. So I think there would have been a very small turnout to begin with, and it just seemed safer and more appropriate to cancel it. But
It was raining pretty well in the morning.
yeah, so we're gonna keep our fingers crossed that the November walk has better weather. And Frank, you're gonna be
Hopefully,
leading
yeah,
that one?
there's a lot of interest in the November walk. I have something from Craig Repaz, and he's the head guy at the New Haven Bird Club, and they want to join us. There's 2 or 3 people. Also, there's a note from, I would definitely like to walk with you around Knowles Pond on Sunday, November 4th, along with Deborah Johnson and Craig Repaz. I'm a board member of the New Haven Bird Club. I live in Woodbridge and have looked into the possibility of accessing the area to Knowles Pond with no luck, so I'm excited about the renewed effort. Andy, I don't know this gentleman. I don't know if any of you guys do. Maybe he was on.
What was the name?
His Andy, and I think he signed it Andy, and I think the last name may be Stacked, because that's
Okay.
unless he was on the commission formerly or something, or maybe he's just
No. Well, I'm glad there's interest.
yeah, there's a lot of interest, yeah,
Good,
and
good.
also probably the West River Water Coalition's probably interested in coming on that walk, so
And that's November 4th?
that's November 4th, 10 a.m.
That's a Sunday?
It's a
So,
Sunday.
do
It's a
we meet at the
Sunday, yeah,
Darling
because
House? Or
if
no,
we have
across the
to,
street?
if we have to go into the to the rock quarry there, we can only do that on a Sunday. The Woodbridge materials, the West Rock
West Rock
materials. We can
Materials.
only do that on a Sunday, yeah, because they have machinery there and trucks going in and out of that out of there.
And have you talked with the
Yeah,
owner
we're
of
all
the-
set for that. We
Oh.
have
So
permission
where's
to
the
go there.
entrance to that? Where do we go?
But we haven't, I don't know what happened. The town was supposed to talk with Mr. Nugent. I don't know if
Right.
anybody got in touch with Mr.
I have
Nugent.
not had any luck. I've asked, Jerry Weiner has reached out to him and has not received a response, and I sent an email asking if instead of purchasing the property, we could discuss an easement or just written permission to access the land, and he told me that the property is for sale. Which
I
means
didn't
he's
think-
not interested in talking about that, is
Of
the way I read the
anything.
email, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. And access, I think we're gonna park at the Darling House.
Okay,
And we'll walk as
And
far
we'll
as we
cross
can
West
into
River
it and
and then-
around it and,
okay.
Yeah.
alright.
We'll go down that
This is the
way.
West
That'll be
River
nice.
walk?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
believe the people from the bird club may bring a spotter to spot some birds, and so it
Who's
might be
the lady
interesting.
that always walks? She's an older lady and she always walks. You know what I'm talking about? She's always has her birds out over here. She's out all the time. Next time I see her, I'm gonna ask her who
Yeah.
she is, cause she's out. She's all the time.
Oh, November 4th.
And what time?
It's daylight savings ends on November 4th. So mind your clocks.
Well, that's
we
an extra
we fall
hour.
back.
Yeah.
So if you miss it,
If
just
you
show up at 10 o'clock
If you
instead
send
of
me that nice
What time is
blurb
the
you
walk?
write, I
10.
can send it.
Google.
Yeah, you're gonna get your folks out there.
Well, if, I need that nice blurb because I'm not good at that. If you send me that, I'll send it out.
just a brief write-up about the walk.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then you'll do your little publicity blast.
Yeah, I have, yeah,
And lots of people will show up.
well, hopefully.
If you send it to me also, I can get it on the
If
town
the
calendar.
weather's nice, I
Did
think
they
that
approve
Oh,
helps.
if
the
the
dog
weather's
park
good,
or
we should
no?
get
Jason,
some
do you know if
people.
they approve? Oh, you would know.
'Cause
Do
it
they approve
might
the
be
dog
one of
park
the
or not?
I have to
last
check.
ones
And I'll
with
talk
good
about that
weather.
at the
Yeah.
chairman's report.
To teach
Okay.
middle school
All right, and we don't have any trail walks for December.
You know, there's
And I
that.
think that's probably okay.
Yeah, it's okay. There's a Hemlock Hollow. No one's done that in a while. You know where the Hemlock Hollow, off Hemlock Hollow?
that I had
walk?
notes from
No
that,
one's
that
done
you
that.
wanted to do that a long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could do that one.
Yeah.
It's really it's not that long. There's a longer walk that goes. There's a short walk, but then there's a longer one that goes all the way. You know, if you go straight down 313 where there's that waterfall, and you take a right, and you go
Yes.
almost in Seymour.
Yeah.
There's a trail that goes all the way, but that's really far. But if you just do the small trail, it's only like a mile and a half, like a mile, like it takes like 25 minutes. We could do that. And it's
Alright.
January or something. Actually, it's a good snowshoe too. If anybody wants to do that, that's a great walk.
That's a
Is
nice
it short?
It's short, yeah, it's short, and
I've
it's
been there. Also, we have a request from Carissa Vega. She's on the sustainability committee in town,
Uh-huh.
and she wanted to. She has some folks interested in finding a path from the town hall down to the business district, And the only way I thought about it was going down through a Fitzgerald property and picking up, what would be the other one? And then finally the old Indian trails and down by.
Yeah, there is a connection.
There is a connection,
right now.
but she would like to do that walk with the sustainability people, so perhaps we could do that.
It's a long
Why not?
walk. It's a long walk.
It's
I
probably,
would
well,
say-
we might be able to do it in two sections.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it would, or you could park several cars at the other end and bring everybody back
Yeah, that's
here.
another way to do it.
Because if you did a round out and back, I would guess out and back is probably gonna be 5 miles at least.
So I did give her some maps, and she
To
looked at the
Saloon,
maps.
Like from Fitzgerald?
No, we don't have to
Yeah,
go
to
all the
Saloon.
way. What we could do is we could get down to Fountain Street and then do the other,
Yeah.
the other walk at another time.
Yeah, that would
We
be.
could do from Fitzgerald down to Fountain Street. That wouldn't be that long.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Yeah, I'd be happy with
That'd
it.
be interesting. So maybe
Follow up.
I could set that up, or we could do it
Yeah.
for whatever.
Or we can save the Hemlock Hall for like
The
a
next
snowy
month.
day, like we could just do like a snowshoe.
Yeah, I
That's
think
what
the
we want.
Hemlock Hollow is a good one just for a short cold day.
Yeah, short,
Because you're
cold-
out
exactly,
and back and you're
exactly, and you don't have
not
to
frozen
snowshoe.
by the end of it.
Yeah, exactly, it's like a mile, it's fast.
And I don't even know where it is. Is it
do
on the
you-
is it on the town line?
You know where
with-
Peck Hill is?
Yeah.
Okay, then you keep going straight. The next road is like sexually near where I live. Rimmon Hill, you go straight. It's that neighborhood right back there, almost like the neighborhood before Seymour.
Okay, so it's right close to the
Yeah.
town line up there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's in the back there. Yeah.
All right, think about that. Did you want to do that for December, or
No.
do you want to do a January?
No, let's do it in some others. Let's do it. Let's just put it out there for some kind of into cold walk. Even February, March, or something like that.
All right.
Or I can do it. Or I can do
Because
just.
I think at our next meeting we'll start talking about 2019 trail walks.
Okay.
So I think we'll have that on a 2019,
Okay, sure.
and then we could start picking off other months in 2019 at our November meeting.
Yeah, December we don't have to do that.
Cool. Yeah, and that, like I said, I don't know how many people know about that trail because it's sort of way out. I mean, people
Yeah,
are more
that's what I'm
familiar
saying.
with the
No one
central.
really goes there, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of coyotes back there. That's the only thing.
It's pretty back there.
It's pretty, yeah. There's definitely coyotes.
I scared a fox the other day in Alton Newton Street Park. All right. Next on the agenda is to review the latest revisions to the property rating system. So, it's been a while since we.
Cruising.
What's that?
I thought we were cruising through this agenda.
Oh no, ratings.
Dun dun dun. So, it's been a while since we had a discussion about this, and I spent some time reflecting upon what we had talked about in the past. And 2 items sort of hung us up on the objective criteria. One used to be called development pressure, and we were all a little confused and uncertain what that really meant. So I got the feeling we probably wanted to indicate nearby development. So I changed the name to be nearby development, and I struck out a couple of the items on that criteria. One of them was no buildings within or no structures on adjacent parcels within a half mile. A half mile is a long way. Our town's not that big.
Mhm.
So that seems irrelevant for our purposes. So I removed that. And another item that was on that criteria was imminent development to happen on the parcel. And I think we had thought that might be a justification to act faster, but not necessarily a criteria, because it's something that changes month to month. I mean, there's properties up for sale and not up for sale, and if there's the likelihood of development on the parcel now, it probably wasn't 2 years ago. So including that in the rating might be a little more subjective, because it's something that comes and goes.
Yeah, I understand.
Well,
I was actually
that's-
thinking about that when I read through the materials, that it seems very important, like we'd want it there, but it really isn't describing the actual property itself. It's an external circumstance that will impact the property.
Yeah.
But will it get the proper, weight without it being identified on here, do you think?
my thought was it could be put into the subjective part of the review, and also, at least my experience has been, people hear about a piece of property about to be developed, and they start getting very excited about it and trying to act. But it's such an immediate thing that putting it into a rating that rating is supposed to stand for 5 or 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Having that urgency is tough to
Right.
put on something that's meant to be so long-lived. That was my feeling. I hope I'm being clear.
Or maybe it could be a
Kinda like
separate
all
thing
the
somewhere
property.
else, like, you know, is there any time
What's going on with the land
during,
trust?
say, like, on a, it's not a criteria, but it's somewhere on the rating sheet, having a, you know, development, something.
So in addition, just to back up a minute from this particular rating sheet, I started drafting a more bigger document to go along with it,
Mhm.
and I circulated it to everybody.
It's all part of that Excel file.
No, there was a Word document that was in that email as well. The idea of the objective rating sheet,
The rating system one?
yeah,
Yeah.
is it's part of a bigger assessment of a parcel. So it's one part of a whole review of a parcel. And the objective part is merely to get a score so you can objectively compare properties, but it doesn't tell the full story. As Leland pointed out in prior meetings, that there needs to be some subjective discussion or narrative about any parcel, and I do agree.
Sure.
So, I just wanted to make that clear, that even though if we take out something about imminent development on a parcel, or imminent sale on a parcel,
Gotcha.
if we take that out of the criteria, the numeric part, it could be part of the narrative
Right.
as well. Or we could put it back in,
I was just
as a different item.
wanted to just even think it through. I don't have a,
Yeah. It's a tricky one, and it also brings up a lot of emotion
Oh,
for
does it?
people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that was one change on the ratings, changing it from development pressure to nearby development, and changing some of the items there. The other change was, actually 2 changes. I had removed a water feature. It was, do I still have?
In the Excel one?
Yeah, there was a water feature that we all looked at and went, that doesn't really apply. Waterway frontage.
Oh, yeah.
Waterway.
Waterway.
Because we're not,
No shit.
There's no
yeah,
shipping
that's what
going
I
on in
said, we
Woodbridge.
don't have a port. The Woodbridge port.
Well, that's okay.
So I had removed that, and to balance it out, and to coincide with the more recent discussions about agriculture specifically in town, I thought maybe let's try adding a farming activities criteria to it. And the rankings would be active farming, meaning it's happening now, previous farming, potential for farming, or farming's not possible at all. Thoughts?
Wait,
So we
farming
give
activities, what,
points.
are you on
Yeah, I
tertiary,
think-
where are you?
Tertiary.
Yeah.
I think that's a
So we
great
get
idea.
points
Yeah.
for that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Did you remove anything to put that in?
I did. I removed the waterway.
Depending on
frontage.
how suitable it is for farming.
Yeah.
That seems much more relevant than
Okay.
water.
And it
Makes
also,
sense.
Right.
yeah.
How about-
Activities is good, it doesn't say, that just kind of, that's a,
Broad.
gives you an umbrella and, doesn't close you in for what,
And it also-
what those farming
right.
things are.
Right.
And
I-
it coincides with the other, thing you talked about earlier
Ag
with the,
commission, right,
yes, thank you.
exactly.
Yeah, and I indicated that farming as defined by the state of Connecticut, because the state of Connecticut has very specific, although very broad, very specific terms for what farming is. So I thought we could just simply
That's a good idea.
leverage their definition on it. And also, in the same criteria system, the use of property. So if you were looking at farming, and I think I had it in the tertiary criteria, the use of property which is the topmost, there's a,
Mm-hmm.
one of the criterion ratings under use of property is primarily agriculture lands. So when we are rating a property, we're first looking at, can it be used as a primarily agriculture lands? That's actually one of our primary
So then why
ratings.
would we want this
And
again?
that's-
So it
It seems
dovetails with
redundant.
that.
It does seem a little
It
redundant.
doesn't say it, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, use of property,
Use of
yeah.
property.
Yeah, but use of property has several criteria.
Right, okay.
It starts in fully natural state, and then it goes down into agriculture lands, then it goes down to residential, commercial, with minimal disturbance of the soil.
Mhm.
Then it goes residential, commercial, a lot of disturbance, and then it goes intense with waste pits and spray irrigation and landfills. So the use of property, while it does indicate agriculture, it doesn't specifically, its sole purpose is not farming. So I thought it would be appropriate perhaps to include farming as a item here.
Seems redundant, but
It's a little redundant.
I had a question about access.
Oh,
Yes, access.
So, tell me more about what access is. I can't seem to access the definition of access on my.
Good question too.
And I'm gonna go through the document that I started writing, cause I was just reading about that yesterday.
Does this have anything to do with zoning? No.
No.
Okay.
So access, so to accompany just the Excel spreadsheet and its numeric ratings, I felt it was important to give some verbiage behind it
Mhm.
to answer these types of questions. What does it mean by access? So I had written last night that parcels have various levels of access from immediate, apparently I need to reword this a little bit. Parcels have various levels of access immediately from adjacent parcels or no access, such as landlocked parcels. So access is,
Like a trail?
there's a road right nearby, you
Yeah.
can get to it, or is it in the middle of a development and it's surrounded by all these other properties, and the only way to get to it would be to cross somebody
like
else's land?
Enoch Road, that was pretty tough access,
Yeah.
a rougher access.
Right.
Yeah, some aren't as
Yeah.
easily accessed.
So does that
Yeah.
help explain what access?
Access
Sense.
exists, no improvements necessary, access exists, but improvements are needed, or poor or no access.
Yeah.
Access.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. So with those changes, I would like to spend a little time now, not here, I will spend time outside of this meeting, going through some parcels, because it seemed worthwhile doing some exercises on existing parcels.
To try to apply it.
And then see how it falls out. I mean, is it good, is it bad? We've gone through one exercise already and come up with some adjustments. So hopefully a few more exercises and we'll have it to out of draft and into revision 1 or version 1.
I think it looks good. I don't know.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna finish fleshing out the backup document that talks about the whole process of reviewing and rating parcels, that include, you need a description of the address, describe the historic points of interest, ownership, current and past use, maps that are needed to go along with it. So
Mhm.
for every parcel that we do, we're gonna have a good document that
Mhm.
supports our
Mm-hmm.
our
So
information.
would you do like the Darling House?
Yeah, we could do that
Yeah,
parcel
'cause
over
that's a
there.
parcel. That's a good parcel there.
Yep.
It's a beautiful parcel.
And then once we figured it out, then I think we'll split up the work in
Okay.
some way. It'll either be everyone will take their own parcel, or everyone will take a certain role of the review. For example, if I'm good at doing the maps, I'll take the role of doing all the maps. If someone else wants to do the narrative parts, and that way it's collaborative in a different way.
Okay.
So that'll be coming. That'll be coming. Alright.
We should take this on some of our hikes and just take the rating sheet on
Yeah.
some of our hikes
Yeah.
and just
I can, yeah. Right.
maybe a couple of different people rate it and see if we get the same.
Yeah, everyone can have their own.
Yeah, and see if how close they are,
Yeah,
according
if
to the
there's any
criteria we have there.
continuity, yeah.
That might be interesting if we could do that.
Sure, I like that.
One of our hikes.
Uh-huh.
You know what, I don't see very much about rivers. I mean, I think it's kind of important, waterways or rivers.
I did have,
It's
I was
here.
trying to come, there's one item for.
There's wetland and
there's-
cover.
There's wetlands and then there's.
water features.
With wetland cover, we have
On the open, I don't
the
s-
riparian forest
It's in
buffer
this
site.
part.
it's
I don't
this-
know if you have this part, this is like
No, I don't.
under that.
Okay, no, I don't think I have it.
Yeah, so.
Oh, yeah,
that
there
one.
we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Here we go, for rating, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
but you're right, like
Okay.
in the water
For rating.
area, we're sort of light on things. So if there's something, especially, I know you're connected with the West River Watershed Coalition. Because we have rivers and we have reservoirs and we have streams and ponds
Mhm.
all over the town, if there's something more that could be included, maybe get some of their input. Again,
But
this
what
rating
I'm
system
saying is, on the rating sheet, you have wetland and cover way down at the, I'm just concerned with it on the rating sheet. We don't have anything on the rating sheet about it, you know?
About which?
That's the only thing. I think it's kind of important.
What would
The
this,
what?
what
Say
would
that
the
again.
falls be on, like, what would, like, like a stream and the falls and all that, would that be in here?
That would be part
Is
of,
that too?
that would be in two categories, and they're both in the tertiary criteria, right
Okay.
there down there. So there's the riparian forest buffer size, so that's, riparian forest buffers is the area, oh, I even wrote it down.
See, the reason why I don't
Yeah,
know what that is.
waterways.
means.
I
That's
can-
what it-
I can
we don't
explain
know
what that is.
You did
Realize
write it
that's what
down.
it was.
I mean, we do have water access in the sense of just
Yeah.
the rivers and streams that go
Right.
through, and I would think that would be important
Oh.
to, you know,
Where did I put the riparian?
I mean, no, we're not gonna have any yachts coming through, but.
Right, right.
It seems important to recognize that, I would think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Ah,
Because water tends to add value too, doesn't it? Usually, or not
It's
always,
just
but
important part of the ecosystem too.
yeah, it is,
people
I mean,
want,
it
you know,
provides
most of the time, right? People wanna be near,
yeah.
you know.
So the riparian buffer, for anyone that's wondering, it's an area of trees and shrubs located adjacent to streams, lakes, ponds, and wetlands.
Yeah, that's important.
Oh, okay.
So it does go in that same category in water
Riparian
as wetlands.
forest. Maybe you should put like next to riparian, like something like in parentheses, like water, you know, like
Yeah,
water
It's under water features.
features,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Just because
It's with it.
you know, I don't know what that meant. I don't think most people would.
yeah. And so, I mean, the document is not meant to be totally standalone. There's that supporting
Right, okay.
behind it, supporting
Okay.
information behind it.
Okay.
So tying into rating properties or properties of interest, next item on the agenda is to talk about the,
I'm still stuck on farming activities, I'm sorry.
you're stuck on farming activities, okay.
I feel like it's giving like a double, like, you know, we can rate that 50 now because we're gonna use of property forwarding and farming. Like, why not have hiking activities or, I don't know, some other activity that also falls under use of property? And if I'm the only one who thinks this, just let me know.
Wait, say that one more time.
So we have use of property, which includes agriculture, and then we have farming activities for tertiary. So so say it's 40 for use of property and 10 for farming. So
Yeah.
now they're getting extra. So, but we're not saying, you know, hiking or
Yeah.
breaking down the other uses of property.
So maybe it doesn't need to be there twice.
I don't know.
But
Just
the thing is though, but I think farming is so different than hiking. You know, farming is we're talking about sort of the land, the actual land. I mean, people aren't gonna hike through a piece. I don't know.
is it just double rating? That's all I'm
Right.
saying.
Okay. All right.
Is that maybe that's a priority and we want to do that, but it's just it seems like it's a double rating.
To play the devil's advocate on that one, we do have trails on there twice too. We have existing trails as a primary and potential for trails as a secondary.
I think we should keep the farming on there just because, for PC reason. You know, I don't know, just because there seems to be a lot of people in town that really care about it. I don't know, and I think we should consider that included in there. I don't know, that's one of the reasons why.
I do agree with it, and that was one of the reasons that I had put it on there.
I just think
because
that,
I know that
yeah,
there's
I mean, I just think that
there is
it's-
interest. We're
I
all
mean, if we do practice and try it out on a few of the
Yeah.
parcels and it comes back totally skewed, then we can rethink it. This is like a work in progress, right?
it is.
so,
Okay.
so I think we should, yeah.
Yeah, we could correct.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I know where you're
Yeah.
coming from.
Okay.
yeah, I hear
I
where you're coming from
agree
too.
with you,
The-
Tracy, but I
And
just
we
think
it's a work in progress.
Let's see,
Yeah, I just
let's
think
see, if
because
it comes back totally
because of-
skewed, then
I just
we'll
think we should try and sort of maybe
figure out where to put it.
incorporate that a little more in
Or how
what
to
we're
rate it.
doing, if they're not gonna be a separate commission, is what I'm trying to say, you know what I mean? Or just start thinking
Well,
about
we don't know
how-
yet, but.
No, I know, but
With this, it gives it,
for now,
the
there's not,
tertiary
so.
gives it less weight anyway, that,
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
if anything, yeah.
Yeah, we could do-
The trails are getting more
Yeah,
weight,
we'll see how
because
it
they're
goes.
secondary and primary. Okay. I think
To-
for what we need, this is the right order. For
Yeah.
the Conservation Commission, this is the right order.
So I'll
We
spend some
can-
time in reviewing a couple different parcels, and
Analyze.
I'll try to come up with some
Going
that
forward.
are truly different, so we can see how it works versus things that are sloped and hilly versus things that have one building versus things that are totally flat. So I'll try to have a variety for us to compare next time. I'm going to use an acronym. Leland would shoot me. The Deep OSWA grant. It's
Oh.
the Department of Department of Energy Environmental Protection
Mhm.
Open Space Watershed Acquisition Grant.
Yes.
There we
Okay.
go. Deep OSWA.
Yeah.
It comes around every year.
Right.
The last few years we've focused on the Litchfield Turnpike property and got no traction.
Yeah.
Or we thought we had traction and then it loses it all in the end.
Yeah.
I have heard that there's some discussion in town about a parcel that's coming up for sale. If it's not already up for sale, it's 20 Blue Trail.
Where's that?
20 Blue Trail.
I know. If anybody's watching
Yeah,
this
the
video,
Blue
they're probably
Trail.
saying the same thing. Where is
Blue
that?
Trail's all over
I'm
town.
trying to think, I think I've
20
seen
So-
Blue
it.
Trail. No, Blue
So
Trail
does-
must be.
So does everybody know where Sperry or Dillon
Yes,
Road is?
Yeah.
right.
Road, yeah.
So Dillon Road
Yeah.
is sort of going out towards Bethany,
Mhm.
and it cuts across from 63 to 69.
Mhm.
Okay.
And there's some reservoirs along that. It's a very narrow, windy road.
I feel like we did a walk there.
Sperry Road comes right off of it,
Uh-huh.
and Sperry Park is in that vicinity.
Okay.
So,
So
Blue
it's called
Trail.
Blue Trail Road? Or
Blue
just
Trail-
Just Blue Trail
Blue,
Street,
yeah.
or
I
whatever?
think it's called Blue Trail. Or is it?
Bush Blue Trail, okay.
I don't know if it's road or trail.
Let me check.
Yeah. It's right up there.
It's off Dillon?
It's off Dillon.
Okay.
Oh, I know where, I think you take
Yeah.
a right, I
You
think
take
there's
a
a
right.
stop sign, you take a
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, if you're going-
And then you keep going down that,
It's a
the
little dead end
killer,
road.
where they need
See
to
a
blow
picture?
that rock, okay. I
Blue
know where
Trail
it is.
Drive.
63, you go down Dillon and it's down here.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's 35 acres.
Blue
And
Trail Drive.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
drive. Okay.
Yeah.
I do
It's
know
right
where
off
it is.
Dillon,
Yeah.
Yes,
near Diana.
yes.
35 acres. It abuts Woodbridge Land Trust property. It abuts Town of Woodbridge property parcels that are already protected. It's in a general vicinity of the kilns and the quarry, and actually the walk that we were going to be doing.
Mhm.
Is it near that farm, like,
It's behind Shepherd Farm.
Mhm.
okay,
It's up the ridge
Mhm.
okay.
behind Shepherd Farm. There are
Right.
utility lines, the big utility lines.
Wait,
that
and
run
there's
through
no
it.
house on it? It's just
It's
land?
it's all open. I
Huh.
mean, it's got some wetlands, and it is, like I said, got right of way from the public utilities because there's big power lines cut through
Oh.
it as well. I think there has been some interest of getting the town to enter into a discussion with the realtor. I don't have any more info. Do you have any info?
I think the plan is to subdivide the parcel so that some of the land would be sold for housing and some of the land could be sold to the town.
That is, okay.
So it wouldn't be the entire, what did you say, 35 acres?
Right.
Yeah, it wouldn't, but I'm not sure what amount it would be.
Okay.
So some of it would be developed,
Potentially, yep.
potentially, right?
Yeah, so I was asked to attend a meeting, and I hadn't heard back as to when we're gonna meet, but they were looking for my input from conservation in regards to this parcel, and I thought, well, there's this grant that's coming up, and if there's movement on it, this particular parcel has been on the properties worthy of acquisition going way back. It was on the 2003 open space plan. It's on our current open space
What
plan
makes
as
it
well.
worthy of acquisition though? What was specifically makes it appealing to the town?
I'm
Open
glad you
space.
asked.
Isn't it open space?
It is open space. It is, and I believe it was added to the.
Can you farm it? Can you?
I believe it was
Can
added
ya?
to the open.
Maybe we should use our rating scale and see
Right.
if it's something we wanna.
I agree.
How
Yes, we
high of a
should.
score it gets to see if that's what we want.
See how this all segued
All
together
coming
so
It's
well.
all coming together.
Look at
for
that.
It's as if I planned it that way.
Good thing you have Karen
Just kind of lead me in. So, on our open space plan, the reasons for acquisition are it extends the greenway, it's threatened by developmental forces, it is one of the last large remaining undeveloped areas in Woodbridge, the Boy Scout camp is adjacent, and there's a greenway in it, and its proximity to West Rock Ridge Park.
Wait, those all apply for this one?
Yeah, well, this is all what's in our open space plan.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
I know, but, okay, right.
It provides natural year-round shelter for many forms of animal, and to protect a historic trail that's a critical link in the greenway. We mentioned greenway a lot
So-
on this one.
I know that there's that blue trail comes out, but it doesn't connect. Because one time when I was, there's like, if you go to the end of Dillon,
Yeah.
you're like, oh my god, you look up, there's a sign, Wood Land Trust, where it's a blue trail. And I'm like, where does that even go to? So I'm wondering if that trail goes directly, I don't know. I'll have to look on the maps.
Right.
Does that have anything to do with this property is what I'm asking.
This property is in that area, so it
Okay.
does have the potential to add some connections on our town trail network.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this grant is due February 7th?
Yes,
Okay.
2019.
Yeah.
So we have to
Which
get
is
an
coming
appraisal.
up.
We have to get an appraisal and all.
Yeah, I
It-
mean, like,
I
all
believe
that
the grant
stuff
still
needs to
requires
happen.
two
appraisals.
That's what I'm
Between
saying.
now and
All
February
that stuff
7th.
needs to happen, we don't even know if it's subdivided, or we don't have enough.
Right.
Alright, I'm just saying.
I mean, in terms of all the language and backup,
Ambitious.
Yeah, things go real fast.
the language and the backup maps and whatnot, I'm comfortable putting together, and Betsy and I have worked together in the past to bring it all together. The thing that takes
Okay.
the longest is the appraisals.
Right,
And to get that in motion.
okay.
I don't know where things, I feel like I don't know enough to make a motion to recommend 20 Blue Trail as the target for this grant.
Yeah.
I feel like I need more info first.
Right, I agree with you.
So,
I mean, because that property, I mean, I can understand, but it's like up
Is it
on
hilly?
my point, yeah, I mean.
It's on the top of
do
the
you know,
ridge.
Yeah.
have
Oh,
you guys
okay.
been
It's
down
pretty
Dillon
hilly.
Road? You know, you go down there, once in a while, you just pray that there's not a big car coming.
Mhm.
I mean, it's right there. I mean, that is not,
Right on the
straight
ridge.
up. Like, that property may or may not be worth, you know, I mean, everything's worth it, but do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
really
and
going
if,
after.
And if there's intention to subdivide it, what part
Well,
of
that's
the
my-
property?
But
That's my
And
question.
if they do subdivide it, how are they gonna build on that, like, right there?
Well, they wouldn't build on that part, that
Right.
would be the part
But
that
but-
we get.
Yeah.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, but then why do we want
then-
that?
then-
Why do
then
we
how
want
would
it?
the access
At least
be,
it's
though?
protected, I don't know,
Well,
but we
who's
can
gonna
make
build
a.
on it anyway? I mean, it's just
Well,
gonna sit
I
there.
don't.
So it's not, so to answer the question of
We
what.
have to rate it first.
I feel
We
like-
have to take the
yeah.
rating sheet out there.
So I could, if everyone wanted to come around the computer, I could show you what the parcel is. It is not right along Dillon Road.
Okay. Do you know, have you guys been down Hill Road? I mean, that's.
Yeah, I
really
know
good.
where you mean.
Sometimes I'm thinking, what are they thinking about this? I'm
And-
glad I don't live on that.
And I
road.
apologize to the people that have
Yeah.
to watch on the camera.
Okay.
So there's Dillon
Yep.
Yep.
and the really steep downhill by the reservoirs. At the very top
Okay,
of
so
that
that's,
hill.
that's 69.
That's Blue Trail right there
Okay,
where your
yeah.
finger
Yeah,
is,
this is
yeah.
this is
Okay,
Blue Trail
that's
Road.
Blue Trail.
At the very end, it's this piece right here that
Yeah.
I'm about to
Okay, so
highlight.
it's far
Here,
from
here's the
that hilly
satellite view.
piece then.
Yeah.
And
Who owns
what's,
this piece right
yeah, I
here?
was just gonna ask
This is the
that.
piece I was talking about. Does the town own that?
Water Authority owns that.
Okay,
Oh.
so forget about it. So that.
And what's that red line? Not that red line, the squiggly one,
This
yeah,
squiggly
yeah,
trail.
So we're-
cause that's important,
That-
see?
Right. That's
There's
right.
a trail right there, right?
Yeah.
I think that's, well,
Is that
I
the
don't know
Boy
what
Scout
that
trail?
is.
Is that the Boy
Okay.
Scout trail?
no, so the Boy Scout camp is down here,
But where's
and
the
it kind of squiggles
okay, I was
around
gonna say,
through
'cause that
here.
that's near the trail.
It's-
Is that
A
the
stream?
Is that the
No, that- wouldn't the stream be blue?
Probably, but
What do you
I don't
call
know
it?
what it is.
I
yeah.
just lost
Just
it. Is
a
that
line.
the
There's
power
another
lines?
one
Is that
there.
the power lines?
Oh, no,
No, okay.
power lines
Where
go
are we
straight
looking
to
for
that.
the actual property that we're thinking about
Right there.
rating?
That one.
Okay,
I wish
don't
this
know.
wouldn't obscure it so much, but
Got
Tucked
it.
way back away. Okay, I see.
yeah. So that's Woodbridge property, that's Woodbridge, that's Woodbridge. There's a land trust parcel in this mix as well. That's Woodbridge property. So there's a lot of town-owned abutting properties and land trust abutting
I feel
properties.
like if we knew that we're subdivided, it would help, don't you think?
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
acreage again?
35, but
30,
it
no,
wouldn't
36 acres, 36.
36, okay.
So is it this area
That's
here?
a lot of land.
Is it this here?
That's a lot of land.
Yeah.
Big parcel.
That's a big
Oh, there it is.
parcel.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, you know what is probably nice, but they can probably see West Rock. And all, I mean, it's pretty. You know, it might be.
It's really pretty.
Yeah.
If I can get, I thought there was a way to get a satellite on this map layer.
I think Tracy has satellite.
She does. I was trying to see if I could get the
There's a
satellite.
satellite, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it'd be
there it is.
great if
Thank
you
you.
could see that.
There it is.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Is
it's a
this it
big
here?
piece of land.
This is Blue Trail.
And then
so
what's this?
I don't
Yeah.
know what that is.
So the
Okay.
power lines
Might be
cut through
power
one
lines.
corner.
I see.
So this
Mhm.
right
This is
path
power
is like
lines.
power lines.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Okay.
Yep.
So it must be like this right here.
Yeah.
Actually, you can see it right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The
power
power
lines
lines cut right
yeah.
through
Right through.
sort of the corner. This yellow outlined piece.
Yeah.
Is the big one.
Hmm. Where's that farm? Like right here?
Shepherd Farm.
No,
She
Shepherd
is
isn't.
that. She is this
Okay.
one.
Just behind it.
Yep.
But this is the only property on our list that we know is
How about
possibly for sale.
This is the one that's got the most activity and attention at the moment. The other, I'd have to sit down and look at the list all over again and see what's for sale in town. Baldwin Road property is on our list, but I know that's being handled by the Land Trust.
Was there something on Park Place or something?
Park Lane,
Park Lane off.
that
of
property
Yeah.
is still up for sale.
Still up for sale?
It's, I think that was 8 acres.
Is that anywhere near the old Indian trails or any?
It's on it.
Yeah.
You're talking about 57 Park?
Yeah,
It's part of the trail system.
yeah.
Okay, that might be
But that's
something.
closer to the highway. It's not as nice walking. I'm just telling them straight up. Like I don't.
No, yeah, it's
you know
not,
what I
it's not,
mean?
it's not as pristine
no.
as this would be out in this area, but.
But that doesn't mean it's not worth getting. I'm just my opinion.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
we've had a little discussion about it. It sounds like if I'm able to get more info
Yeah.
and maybe try a rating system
Okay.
on this piece.
How can we get more money to buy more stuff, like more land?
The grant.
More
The grant helps us leverage what we've got, and last I knew, we're somewhere around 70 to 75,000 in the open space.
Can we? Is there
Fund.
anything we should be doing to try to get more money for that, or no?
Yes, but I don't know what.
Right.
We can advocate that the town set aside every year as part of its budget a certain amount into a fund. I feel like that's a difficult
The other
one
thing
to
is if
achieve.
they sell that,
but-
if they sell that country club property, maybe there could be a piece of that that comes to the land trust.
Yeah, to the land,
Or
not
to the
not
land,
to the land trust,
the
but-
conservation, whatever.
But to the land fund that
To
the
the
town
land
holds.
fund,
Yeah.
right.
I like that idea.
Yeah, because, you know what I mean, like,
And we've talked about that before, yeah. It's tricky to get traction on it, but it's worth having that discussion.
no, but at least, you know,
Keep putting
there's
pressure
always,
on it.
but you can
Yeah.
always just, people don't, you just put a little star in there, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I have a question about these DEP grants, DEEP grants.
Yes, question on the grant.
In terms of their criteria, is there any preference given to towns that maybe don't have as much open space as we currently have already?
They do. So a distressed municipality
Mhm.
are typically in Derby, because I know Derby is considered a distressed municipality because they don't have a lot of open space and they have high urban density.
Mhm.
So those municipalities get perhaps higher ranking, and they also get higher awards to the
Mhm.
grants. So I think we would get a 65% of market value, where Derby would get 75 or 85% of market value. Other rankings and ratings that affect the award is the adjacency to parcels that are already protected, to trying to make bigger overall protected parcels. And some of the other items that are on our rating sheet as well, water features and natural habitats. So, I mean, I think this is an attractive parcel. It may not be quite as attractive as the 1875 Litchfield Turnpike that we've tried to get in the past, but that one's too slippery to be able to go for again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think we'll keep our eye on it and try to continue
Yeah.
to work with them, but we gotta put our energy where we can actually make a difference. All right, so I'll get more info and loop back around with everybody at our November meeting.
Thank you. Okay.
all right. Great.
Thank you.
All
Okay,
right.
Chairman's report.
Chairman's report, last item on the agenda.
All right.
I have 3 things.
Okay.
One is something that Tracy tipped me off to. There is a trail run this weekend at the Alice Newton Street Park. It's a trail run and also a trail walk.
Okay.
And the funds that go, you pay to participate, but those funds go to the Woodbridge Parks Association to help them continue to maintain and manage the park with their bridges and whatnot. And definitely some of their bridges could use some work.
Yeah.
I did a run through there last weekend, and there was one spot that I thought, wow, they need to do some work.
Also, the bridge that the Boy Scouts did, it's falling apart.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about? Or a different
Are you
one?
talking about the big bridge that's pretty close to the start?
No, but that one too. No, the one in the back the Boy Scouts built with the logs.
Oh, yeah.
That one's still falling apart, and actually, yeah, I mean, like, bad.
Yeah, so definitely, so funds from this event will go towards the Parks Association so they can help actually get the Boy Scouts to get all
Yeah,
the
right.
materials. So if you're able to go, it's Sunday at 8 a.m. Right now the weather looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it must
cold.
be
It's
good.
gonna
It'll
be
be cold.
on Sunday, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see, other item on my report is the 2018 CACIWIC, again, another acronym, oh boy. It's the Connecticut Association of Inland Wetlands Commissions. Their annual conference is Saturday, November 17th. And last year, myself and Leland went. Am I signed up to go? I think I'm signed up to go, yes. No, memberships were already renewed. Memberships were renewed. I will be going. They have great workshops. I think I had forwarded it to everybody. If not, I will definitely do that. If you're able to attend, I recommend it. It's worth going. And the last item on my report is news from the dog park, folks. So, if you hadn't heard, they did have approval with strings attached of getting all their bits and pieces together and planning together, and that they would be fully responsible for all the funding to establish it and maintain it, which I totally agree with. It's a dedicated group of citizens that want to make this happen, and
Where is it?
they've got a lot of energy. So, the park that was approved is over at the Fitzgerald tract. You know where the ice skating rink
Mm-hmm.
is? So, right next to the ice skating rink, that part of the field,
Yeah.
if you can picture
In the
that.
center there?
No,
Yeah.
no, literally right next to the ice skating rink.
Oh,
Not in the
okay.
middle of that big field, but right next to the skating rink, going towards the Chestnut Grove.
Okay.
So that area, not the entire field, not in the middle of the field. And they're gonna continue to assess that area. There are some challenges. There's a low spot that definitely holds water, which could be problematic for
Mm-hmm.
dogs, cause you get lots of running feet and it'll turn into mud pretty quick. But they're also interested in engaging with the town commissions, conservation, zoning, wetlands, CUPOP, that they'd like to work with the town commissions on various aspects. So I said that I'd bring it up at tonight's meeting, saying that conservation can certainly have a voice in their process. They're looking for input. So
Input regarding.
well, since we're tasked with open space and preservation of open space, a dog park could be considered passive recreation in a fashion.
Mhm.
So we could probably help them figure out the best way to position their dog park to minimize impact on the land. Also they were interested in creating some shaded areas and what sort of natural species or native species would be best for shade trees or shrubs in the park as well.
I do know that that does get flooded and gets icy, it stays icy, so that part of, a lot of that, where that is, because the water rises in there, it's ice, 'cause
Yeah.
a lot of the winter, so when it's, like last year, it was icy for a few months, I know.
Yeah. And it's that low spot
So-
that's sort of near the wetlands part
Yeah, well,
of the property.
right.
That's
So-
about, I think,
So is
a
it,
third
is
of
it in wetlands or is it just a?
It's,
low?
it is not, technically not in wetlands. If you look at a wetlands map, the area approved
It's
is
really
not in
icy.
wetlands, but
So
it
you
is,
could go off
it
the
is
path.
adjacent to it. And that's why they've been talking to the Inland Wetlands Commission.
When I went off and it was ice,
Yeah.
if you're off that
Right.
path, I just remember, 'cause my dog pulled me, and I was on it, it was like all
Yeah.
crunchy ice.
So I'll probably be sharing more information. They're interested in having me walk with them and look at
Yeah.
the area. And I'll let everybody know what's going on.
One dog at a time, so it doesn't get too much.
Yeah, one dog at a time.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work. I hope
You got a
it
gate that locks.
Right.
One dog in, it
No
locks until
peeing.
one dog out. But so that's the status of the dog park in town. They are trying to make a go of it, and they're looking for input and advice. So whatever we can do.
I think that they should put a fence around it, Rob.
Yes, they'll
Okay.
definitely
It'll be fenced
Yeah.
off.
Okay.
And with that, I have no other things to report.
Make a motion.
Motion to adjourn. Tracy seconds.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Good
Thank you,
meeting.
everybody.
Yeah.
Right on time.